Yeah, what you're going to see, hopefully tomorrow, is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information, but it's pretty sick what that man did.
Jeffrey Epstein's name has long been synonymous with one of the most shocking and high-profile sex trafficking scandals in modern history. His ties to powerful elites, from politicians to Hollywood celebrities, have fueled speculation about the extent of his criminal network. Now, former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi is set to release a trove of documents that could finally expose the names of those who were involved or at least closely associated with Epstein's world. These files, which include detailed flight logs and potentially other damning records, have the potential to shake the foundations of politics, business, and entertainment. With mounting pressure from both lawmakers and the public, Bondi has confirmed that the long-awaited release is imminent. What will these documents reveal, and which high-profile figures might be implicated? The time for speculation is over. Now, the truth is about to come to light. The fight for transparency, the push to release the files.
I certainly made a huge mistake, not only meeting him in the first place, but I met with him a number of times. I had a goal of raising money for global health. I didn't realize that in a meeting with him almost downplayed the incredibly awful things he did. I learned more about that over time, but I'd add that to the list of big mistakes, including, where Melinda's advice was sound and I should have followed it sooner than I did.
For years, the Epstein case has been shrouded in secrecy, with key documents kept out of public view. Despite mounting public interest, efforts to unseal these records have been met with delays, legal battles, and bureaucratic resistance. Many have speculated that the reluctance to release the files stems from the powerful individuals who may be implicated. However, recent political pressure and public outcry have reignited efforts to bring these documents into the light, setting the stage for one of the most highly anticipated disclosures in modern history. One of the most vocal advocates for transparency has been Senator Marsha Blackburn, who has repeatedly called for the full and unredacted release of Epstein-related files. Her insistence is not about satisfying public curiosity regarding the high-profile figures in Epstein's social circle, but rather about exposing and dismantling human trafficking networks that have operated in the shadows for far too long. Blackburn has stressed that withholding these records only serves to protect the guilty and delay justice for the victims. To push for full disclosure, Blackburn sent a letter to Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel, urging the immediate release of all government-held Epstein files. In her request, she specifically called for the publication of flight logs from Epstein's private jet and helicopter, as well as records connected to Epstein's longtime associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Additionally, she pressed for surveillance footage from Epstein's Palm Beach estate, which could contain evidence of his criminal activities and the involvement of others. Blackburn's demands have been framed as a crucial step toward exposing the full extent of Epstein's network, identifying key enablers, and ensuring that those involved in human trafficking operations are held accountable. While Republicans like Blackburn have been pushing for the files' release, they are not alone. Democratic lawmakers have also joined the effort, making this a rare bipartisan issue. Representative Ilhan Omar publicly questioned why Bondi was delaying the release, raising concerns that the former Florida Attorney General may be protecting certain individuals. The Senate Judiciary Committee's Democratic members also criticized the lack of action, taking to social media to call for full transparency. Their posts included images of Epstein and his close associates, including former President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk, though neither have been directly accused of any wrongdoing in connection to Epstein's sex trafficking operation. Bondi, who has been reviewing the documents, has maintained that the delay has been due to the need to protect the identities of victims. However, she recently confirmed that the bulk of the material is expected to be released in the coming days, marking a significant moment in the Epstein investigation. While redactions will likely be necessary for privacy reasons, Bondi has assured the public that substantial information, including names, flight records, and other key details, will be made available. The high-profile figures most likely to appear.
I do. Jesse, there are well over, this will make you sick, 200 victims. 200. So we have, well over 250 actually. So we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, I think tomorrow, the personal information of victims. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office.
The release of these documents could have serious consequences for some of the world's most influential people. Speculation has run rampant about who might be named, with betting markets tracking public sentiment on the most likely suspects. One of the most frequently mentioned names is former President Bill Clinton, whose ties to Epstein have been well documented. Flight logs show that Clinton traveled on Epstein's private jet, known as the Lolita Express, multiple times. Clinton has denied any involvement in Epstein's crimes, insisting that his meetings with Epstein were related to charitable work. However, his presence on the flight logs raises serious questions. Another figure under heavy scrutiny is Prince Andrew, who was famously accused by Virginia Giuffre, one of Epstein's victims. She alleged that she was forced to have sexual encounters with the royal when she was underage, a claim he has consistently denied. However, the Duke of York settled a lawsuit with Giuffre out of court, further fueling speculation about his ties to Epstein's network. Hollywood has not been spared from association with Epstein, and several major names have been floated as potential figures in the upcoming disclosures. Kevin Spacey, already disgraced by numerous allegations of sexual misconduct, had a known relationship with Epstein. Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, and Leonardo DiCaprio have also been the subjects of speculation, though there is no direct evidence of wrongdoing. Billionaires and business leaders are not exempt from scrutiny either. Bill Gates, who admitted to meeting with Epstein multiple times, has faced questions about the nature of their relationship. Likewise, former Israeli Prime Minister Ehud Barak has also been linked to Epstein, with reports suggesting he frequently visited Epstein's properties. The flight logs, what we know so far.
Fox News alert, the government has been hiding Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs since he committed suicide 4 years ago. Fighting international sex trafficking should appeal to everybody, no matter what political party. We care about women and children. We care about law and order. We care about corruption.
The flight logs from Epstein's private jet are among the most scrutinized documents in the case. Some flight records have already been made public through past lawsuits and investigative journalism, but the full extent of Epstein's travel network remains unknown. Pam Bondi has stated that the upcoming document release will contain a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. This suggests that the files may provide a more comprehensive view of who flew with Epstein and how often. Already released logs show that Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew all flew on Epstein's jets at various points. Clinton, for example, reportedly took at least 26 flights with Epstein, though he claims he was unaware of any criminal activity. Trump's name also appears in past logs, though his interactions with Epstein seemingly ceased before Epstein's first arrest in 2008. The new records could potentially reveal previously unknown connections and bring to light passengers who have never before been linked to Epstein's operations. If unredacted, they could provide one of the clearest pictures yet of how Epstein's powerful social circle was constructed. The role of financial institutions and elite gatekeepers.
JP Morgan and the victims of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse have settled a lawsuit. The suit was filed in federal court last November over claims the bank ignored warnings about Epstein and continued to do business with him. The amount of the settlement was not disclosed. Epstein was arrested in 2019 on charges of sex trafficking minors. He died in prison in what authorities ruled a suicide.
One of the most overlooked aspects of Jeffrey Epstein's network is the role that financial institutions and high-level gatekeepers played in enabling his operations. While much of the focus has been on the powerful individuals who associated with him, Epstein's vast wealth and influence were maintained through relationships with banks, hedge funds, and other financial entities that continued to do business with him, even after he was convicted as a sex offender in 2008. One of the most scrutinized connections has been between Epstein and J.P. Morgan Chase. The bank faced lawsuits alleging that it knowingly allowed Epstein to continue moving money through its financial system, despite internal warnings about his criminal activities. The U.S. Virgin Islands sued the bank in 2023, claiming that J.P. Morgan facilitated Epstein's trafficking operations by providing financial services that helped fund his crimes. The case ultimately resulted in a $75 million settlement, though the full extent of the bank's involvement remains unclear. Other financial figures who had ties to Epstein include billionaire hedge fund manager Glenn Dubin and former Victoria's Secret CEO Les Wexner. Epstein was once closely linked to Wexner, who entrusted him with managing large portions of his fortune. Epstein also used his connections to Wexner to gain access to high-profile circles, establishing himself as a financial consultant for the ultra-wealthy. Though Wexner has denied any knowledge of Epstein's crimes, his past financial entanglements with the disgraced financier continue to raise questions. Beyond banking, there is also the matter of the elite institutions and social circles that continued to welcome Epstein despite his known criminal history. Prestigious universities such as Harvard accepted large donations from him even after his conviction. High society events, where he mingled with billionaires, politicians, and celebrities, provided him with legitimacy and protection. These institutions and individuals helped Epstein maintain his influence, and, in some cases, may have actively shielded him from scrutiny. The upcoming document release may not only expose names of individuals who personally associated with Epstein, but could also provide deeper insights into the financial and institutional mechanisms that allowed him to operate for so long. If these files include banking records, transaction logs, or communications between Epstein and financial executives, they could further illuminate how one of the world's most notorious predators was able to continue his crimes in plain sight. The bigger picture, human trafficking and accountability. While much of the public interest in the Epstein case revolves around the famous names connected to him, there is a larger and more pressing issue at hand: human trafficking. Epstein's operation was not simply about his own crimes, but rather a part of a broader network of exploitation. Senator Blackburn has repeatedly emphasized that the ultimate goal is dismantling these human trafficking rings, ensuring justice for victims, and preventing similar operations in the future. The release of Epstein's files could serve as a crucial step in identifying enablers and complicit individuals who facilitated or ignored his crimes. Law enforcement agencies have already made moves in this direction, with numerous figures connected to Epstein being investigated in recent years. Ghislaine Maxwell, Epstein's close associate, was convicted and sentenced to 20 years in prison for her role in procuring young girls for Epstein. However, many believe that she was just one piece of a larger puzzle. With the upcoming release of these documents, the pressure to take action will only increase. If names of powerful figures appear in the files, there will undoubtedly be calls for further investigation and legal action. Now it's time to hear from you. Do you think this release will truly expose the full extent of Epstein's network, or do you believe some of the biggest names will still be protected? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.